I have to admit that after this introduction I have 10 minutes, but I try to do my best. It's not working? Okay, the title and the presentation is the mistake of the organizers, because they invited me to speak about something which I believe important. So I decided that I have a kind of compilation of current problems and some of the current problems, connected, of course, with the future generations and also with the values. And because everything is connected with this subject. So first of all, in my mind, the real great current challenge today is the fact that finally the human right to a clean, healthy and sustainable environment has been adopted by the UN General Assembly in July. When we met in May, we could only mention that it has been adopted by the Human Rights Council, but after that, that was another step forward. And they say that the UN recognizes the right to a clean, healthy and sustainable environment as a human right, and also it's very important that it's related to other rights and existing international law. And what is within that, which I think it's very, very important, is that this right is a kind of guarantee for the enjoyment of other human rights, or of all other human rights. So, which has already been mentioned by environmental lawyers working in that field, that no other human rights might be, how can I say, implemented without the right to environment, not recognizing, but practicing what the right to environment means. And there is a huge list of cases like environmental degradation, climate change, biodiversity loss, desertification, unsustainable development, I just read it, constitute most pressing and serious threats. Okay, which has already been mentioned in May when we met, that the 8th Environmental Action Programme of the EU in Article 3, subparagraph P, referred to that question, that advancing towards one of the tools for the policy is turning to the right to clean, healthy and sustainable environment internationally. No, we don't have anything else to do, but just to clarify what does it mean. So it's nothing serious. Okay, what is clean? What clean means exactly? For example, the first question, who will measure this? What is clean? So it is the government, it is the business, it is the public. Who will measure what is clean? And what are the thresholds? What is the threshold of something is being clean? Or because of course it is very easy when you have the question of bathing water, which is one of the directives of the EU, that there is the bathing water quality. It means that if there are some standards, and if the quality is going below the standard, then they close the area, and they have to be 3 subsequent measurements when they open it. Okay, it's fine, but it is one very specific topic. But what is clean exactly? Who will decide it? And there is. It means that it is a very flexible and indefinite term. I just take the preamble of this UN General Assembly decision, that there are 3 dimensions of sustainable development: social, economic, and environment, and the protection of environment, covering among others ecosystems, and they contribute to human well-being. Okay, but I don't know exactly what is it. And then there is a huge list of problems, from climate change to chemicals and waste. So it is first question. But it is very important from the point of view of future generations. I don't want to explain what, because I'm I don't feel so good myself to express now that what clean means, but it's one very important first question which we have to discuss later. Then what is healthy? For example, healthy for who? You see this is a nice comparison that if you look at the mammals, you see that's very tiny, small plush figure. This is an elephant over there. It is not for Christmas for the children, but it means that only 4% of the mammals of the world today mean wild animals. So, for example, if we say that, next question, healthy environment, then is it a healthy environment? That 60% is the livestock for us. It's a 1 year old paper that it is 36, but officially I think just 2 weeks ago we stepped over the 8 billion, so maybe it's even more. And probably there is even less than 4%. And this is that, okay, what is healthy? Healthy for human beings, or healthy for mammals, healthy for flora and fauna. And if it's healthy for human beings, then it is physical health, mental health, moral health altogether. Many people speak about ecological health. Okay, what is ecological health? That is also a mixture and a complex issue. Again, with another question, what is the threshold? And again, how do we measure what is healthy? So there are very interesting questions if we go into the details. And what is sustainable? I just used last time also this wedding cake of the Stockholm University, Stockholm Resilience Center, sorry. This is referred to in the 8th action program of the EU also, that they are rather using this kind of compilation of the Sustainable Development Goals, that the original, when they are 17 ties, just in a list, from 1 to 17, so it refers to the priority orders. And which we already mentioned, that as the easiest way, what do we mean under sustainability and sustainable development? Then for lawyers, of course, I say that intergenerational equity, intragenerational equity multiplied with integration. So these are all questions which we have to answer, and because for the financial institutions, sustainability means that they have more income. Is it really sustainability that I sustain as a bank, or for sustainable development? It's really a secondary question whether one bank or one oil company will sustain or not. It is the question of whether humanity sustains. Okay, but still it is a huge step forward, because it is a very important message, a kind of gesture. As I mentioned here, that much later than expected, because it took more than 30 years for the General Assembly to wake up. They were not so quick in that respect. So we have to revitalize the already existing concept. And there are calls for international, national, and local communities to act. I don't want to mention this. And what are those call to actions in a 2 years old UN Secretary General's paper? The name of it is Call to Action, that they list, for example, 7 questions connected with this problem, which I already mentioned. So rights at the core of sustainable development, and then in times of crisis. 2 years ago, the UN Secretary General did not even realize, I think, did not dare to realize what kind of crisis we are facing today, in Europe at least. And public participation, and so on and so on. I don't want to list them all. And of course, the rights of future generations is here, number 5. They add especially climate justice, but I used to mention that climate issue and climate justice and the question of protection of and the whole issue which was just in the agenda some days ago, just finished the how can I say, not very satisfactory meeting about the climate change. This climate justice and climate change is only, in my opinion, is only another name for sustainability or another name for environmental protection. I emphasized it last time also that it is easier to repaint the title than to change the whole system. So that's what we are doing, that we are just saying that, no, we are not talking about any environmental protection any longer, it is climate justice, and we don't change anything, only the title. And that's what it is going on today. Why? Because there are crises. There is a crisis. Did you know that there is a problem in Europe in the last some months? There is a problem of peace. And do you know what is the impact of this war on the environment? No one knows at the moment, but it's a huge impact, because now we could hear that there are attacks to the nuclear power stations. What happens if Zaporozhye is hit? Then we don't have too much use to speak about future generations any longer. So this is a very interesting question, because now it's a good excuse for a lot of people. We are going back in Hungary. We are going back to lignite, which is they mention in government decisions that again lignite should be used for heating. It's a terribly stupid idea, because this is a very dangerous. Absolutely not satisfactory solution. And then they are going back to coal, they are going back to oil, they are going back to no nuclear power is our friend. No one has any problem with it. We stopped the solar energy, we do not use the wind energy, at least in Hungary. And there are decisions from one week to another. We have to cut the forest because people have to use it. But if we cut the forest now and the people are burning it now, then it is a disaster for human health. Because as you know that if you cut the trees, then you have to dry them, and otherwise it is very dangerous. And this is decided without any preliminary impact studies, any discussions, just all of a sudden. Still, I remember 12 years ago in Pope Benedict XVI, on the celebration of the World Peace of Day, he had a message saying that if you want to cultivate, please protect creation. So he directly connected the peace itself with the protection of the creation which we are talking about, because he clearly underlined that there is a very strict connection. And not only the war and the environment and not an economic and energy crisis, but the re-evaluation of priorities like today. And this might lead to the deterioration of the environment, which you cannot reinstate any longer. So if there was a calculation, I'm sitting in a group of sustainable development studies of the Presidential Committee at the Academy of Sciences, and the economists calculated that if, of course, it's not a real-life calculation, but it's an imaginary calculation, that if we are using trees for, we are in all the possible heating devices which you have, you might burn wood. You are using wood, then all the Hungarian forests will have to be cut in 12 years. Of course, it's an imaginary calculation, but this that one decision might lead to very bad consequences. What is missing? Long-term and comprehensive thinking, because this is a very important need. The Hungarian Constitutional Court in several decisions made it very clear that legislators shall decide along the lines of a long-term thinking, make deliberations across government cycles. But this is not the case. And how important is the medium and long-term planning? And what happens actually? The crisis situation is, generally speaking, a perfect excuse for everyone. There are special investments, so-called specific investments. It is not only a Hungarian specialty, everywhere there are those things. When the decision makers want to limit the time for discussion, for public participation, for planning, for decision making. And this means that we possibly neglect environmental considerations. And there are these ill-considered ad hoc decisions, as I already mentioned, the solar panel, wind energy, firewood logging in Hungary as examples, and there are many more. So while according to the constitutional rights, according to the Constitutional Court, which has a very a good way of thinking in that respect, the long-term thinking is a must. It is not necessarily the case. This is a very interesting challenge. And next question is, if you look again at to the 8th action program of the EU, thanks God, finally they realized that we have to go beyond GDP. The GDP, which we are using and we are always referring to, and we are using as the calculation of our economic wealth and economic progress, this is an absolutely wrong way. Because for the GDP, if the war in Ukraine and then the cleaning of the ruins and making the new buildings, this all positive for the GDP. So the GDP loves big catastrophes. Big catastrophe means that nothing is reduced. So they do not reduce the environmental program, the pollution, red mud case in Hungary. So the aluminum industry is a positive, that they have a waste disposal site for red mud, it is positive, that it was leaking and they had to rebuild everything and clean up everything. Everything is positive, so it's no one, thanks God now the EU says that but they say it by 2030. We have to come to a situation when the calculation, the index should go beyond GDP. I just mentioned two, which are very well known nowadays, a Human Development Index, Happy Planet Index, which are, as you can see, take at least life expectancy, average years of schooling, and gross national income per capita. So they take it together to calculate the real. But if the basis of calculation is wrong, then the outcome is wrong. Then the planning is wrong. Everything is wrong. This is again an international problem. And then another question connected with this, but I think the time. Tell me when do I have minus 5 minutes? Minus. Okay, we have to think about another question as an example, ecosystem services. Also the Environmental Action Program, that making full use of ecosystem approaches and green infrastructure in connection, so to calculate with ecosystem services. We just made a proposal for the decision makers in my office, and we are just sending it out for the ministers, a huge paper with all the background information that what should be good, how the ecosystem services must be calculated into the decision-making system. Ecosystem service means that it's not ecosystem service, but it's a good example. In the morning, I was waiting for the colleagues in the bus in front of the hotel, and I asked that, as far as I know, the cave pool, how is it called? Cave? What is the official name of the Barlangfürdő?
Bath Cave.
Bath Cave is open again because it was closed due to energy problems, but the hotels put together the costs because for them it is a must that it is working. So this is something, how do we calculate ecosystems? This is this cave, bath cave or what? Yeah, okay, never mind. You understand what I mean. This is a kind of ecosystem service which is good for the others. If it is not working, then the others are not able to work, and that's we have to realize. For example, there is the EU biodiversity strategy how to measure and integrate the value of nature. Because how do we decide about our place to live? When you are selecting a place to live, or you are building a house, what do you like? You want to go in the middle of the most dense place in town, or you prefer to go to a rather green area with fresh air? And so these are ecosystem services. And if you want to sell your house, then it is not the same. Where is this house? And last question is resilience. Resilience is a tool towards environmental protection and towards sustainable development. As 12 years ago, Meadows, you know who is Meadows, the Dennis Meadows, the big name of the Rome Club of Rome. They have this limits to growth, the big paper in 72, and then 30 years after, he still arrived. He said, sustainable development is an oxymoron. And what should really be important is resilience. Resilience, what is resilience? Essence of resilience is the ability to adapt ourselves to different crisis situations. So that's the way or the ability to react in a flexible way. But in most of the countries, like in Hungary also, we are just doing everything to the opposite direction. Because what should be done in resilience? Integration, subsidiarity, precautionary principle, cooperation, planning, public participation, decentralization, voluntary instruments, and constant monitoring and changes of the decision. It is not a mistake if you want to change the decision. It is an advantage if you are open to change your decisions because you realize that it's a wrong direction. And now what is happening now? Local governments are taking to the backgrounds. We centralize everything, which is, from the point of view of resilience, is a very bad way, because resilience means that you adapt yourself quickly. If you are going to the big, then the quick adaptation is much more difficult. And to go to the changes. So this is but it is not a Hungarian question. It's everywhere. It is the case. So resilience is the challenge for the future, because otherwise that will be the situation. You know the guy. Please read it. You know what is going on. That what do you believe? Disaster recovery and business continuity plan. We are in how many? 23 million years. And nothing happened, and you see what is coming. So we face a very similar situation today if we are not changing our structure, legal structure, administrative structures, and way of thinking. Thank you very much.